Cool. Good morning. Welcome to the sort of virtual field trip to Snowdon. Unfortunately, this is replacing what would have been a day trip to Snowdonia, which we normally do. But obviously, because of circumstances at the moment, we can't do that. So we're trying to sort of give you as much of a virtual trip as we can that will replace that. And whilst it doesn't replace actually being there and taking the measurements, a lot of the material that is actually available to us virtually, so through Google Earth and stuff like that, does allow us to do exactly the same things we would be doing and actually have a kind of better, more rounded idea of what's going on and what we're looking at in the landscape. So this field trip's going to be run through, it's called sort of Google Tours or Google Earth Tours, I'm not sure, but it's all online. So you will need sort of a stable-ish internet connection. If you're having problems with that, then let us know. And you basically take yourself through. It's a sort of self-paced tour where you go to different stops. And while you're doing that, we kind of want you to be taking notes, making observations, annotating photos, and collecting some data when we ask you to. So hopefully it's kind of self-explanatory, the sort of stops to go to. And the idea of the trip is to kind of understand the glacial history of Snowdon and Snowdonia, so the broader area. So Snowdon is the mountain, Snowdonia is the broader area, and I'll give you a little introduction to that in a minute and the kind of setting. So you need to just bear that in mind, and we're trying to link it to glacial processes and glacial landforms, which I'll be talking more about in a few weeks in the landforms module. But for the minute, you just need to think about what you can see and make observations, descriptions, write that down, be that in a notebook, on your phone, on your computer, however you want. And then at the end, once you've finished that, there'll be a Canvas test to access and to answer, some short questions, some submitting files, be that a map or a photo, annotated photo, and some short answer questions as well. So you'll be able to come back to these videos and the tour as many times as you need, so it's not that you have to get everything at once, but try to take notes as you go through, because it's a good practice of how you would have to behave on a field trip in terms of collecting information, taking things down while we're talking to you, and not just kind of ignoring us and then asking lots of questions at the end. So if I just show you, we are going to be using what's called a tour builder. So your screen, when I send it to you, should look something like this. If you hover over the sort of white areas and use Control and scroll in and out, you can zoom in and out, because when I'm at 100%, it's a bit crowded, so I've just zoomed out a tiny bit. It'll look slightly different depending on your computer and screen. But it'll look something like this. And essentially, just to give you like a tour of the tour, the blue blob is where we're starting, and we're going to follow this path. And each of these is a stop. So you don't have to click on them in order. If we click on them, we go to different places, different things arrive. And on the left, you can see the sort of table of contents and the sort of order is best to do them in. Okay, and it sort of shows us the whole tour. There will be a few extra stops I haven't added in yet, which I'll do shortly. At each stop, there'll be either a video or a short description and some writing. And in a few places, it asks you to use the Street View function. So I think it's called Street View. Basically, this guy, where you are on the map. So say we're here at this stop here on the road. If you click and drag this person across, you'll see these blue areas appear, which is where, if you haven't used this before, where you can drop the guy and you go into a street view as if you were on the road. And that's where we want you to make some observations at specific points that we kind of highlight. By observations, we mean what can you see descriptively, so road, some sort of valley here with lots of green vegetation, some stones, some sort of mounds, a big mountain in the background, those sorts of descriptive ideas, okay? And then if you can interpret them, as in if they're moraines or if they're a certain thing, if it's a glacial valley, then even better. To get back, just press Exit Street View or this arrow, and it will take you back to this view. And if at any point you get a bit lost, just press Introduction, it'll take you back to a bigger view. Sometimes, such as the point up here, this is in a specific place because when we drag the orange guy over, there's a little blue circle just behind the red dot, and if I drop him there, we get a sort of photosphere. It's not where you can move around, but you get a sort of almost 360 photo. And that's when I want you to specifically go to that exact location and do the things. If you're struggling, just have a go, because I mean here, if I drag it to the wrong one and put it on one of these, it's not the end of the world, but it's not maybe exactly the photo I wanted you to see. So just play around until you think you've got the correct one. So that's the kind of background and sort of understanding of how to use the sort of the online virtual field trip. If you're having any issues with internet connection or anything like that, then please just send me an email, or we'll have a sort of Zoom call set up so you can drop in if you need any help. Thank you very much.